What's the deal, YouTube? It's your girl, Miss
Honey.
Um, Happy Sunday, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. You guys know what this is. You requested it. Here I am to do a review for The Walking Dead. This is the mid-season premiere today. Remember, I did not do the first part of this season 7 because I didn't know anybody was interested in me reviewing it until you guys put it on the list of things for me to review after Queen Sugar. So here I am to honor that commitment. As you guys know, I love Walking Dead, and I tend to watch it all at once and binge watch it because it keeps my nerves from being bad. Like after if I watch it episode after one at a time, my nerves be bad as hell, y'all, because there be so much going on. But for you guys, I'm going to review this, and I'm going to do it episode by episode. All right, so if you guys have not seen my um the first half of this season 7 of Walking Dead, I just did a quick little synopsis of it after I binge watched. And so we are picking up from that point where um, Rick has rallied Team Alexandria to go and talk to the Hilltop group about fighting back against Negan and the Saviors. So, this episode of season 7, mid season premiere, episode 9, Rockin' the Road. Let's get into it. Okay, so it opens up with Gabriel, the priest or preacher or whatever, um, cleaning all the shelves off. He's in a hurried, furied rush, cleaning everything off and loading up the truck. Up the car, the trunk. He's got the back seat packed. It's like dusk or dark. It's that sort of not quite dark, but dark look outside. So I don't know if it's dawn or dusk, but he peels out of there and he's out. Then we see Rick and Team Rick talking to the Frady Cat of the Year, which would be Gregory, um, about, sort of teaming up, putting their heads together, putting what little group they have together to formulate a plan to fight against Negan and the Saviors. And of course, Gregory doesn't want to hear any of this. White Jesus is chiming in and he's trying to get him to, come to his senses and be reasonable, but he's not hearing that. And so he basically lets them know, hey, look, I'm not down for it. I'm going to pull the line. It's the status quo around here. I don't rock the boat. I don't want y'all to talk about the boat or any type of rock or rocking or movement of the boat. Please exit stage back door. So as they're leaving, they are met by a small group of people, probably 15, 12, 15 people who are a part of the Hilltop, who support and love Maggie because she has saved their life countless amounts of times now that she's been there. Pregnant and all, she has been the savior of the Hilltop. And so they're just basically letting them know, we heard you want to fight. We're down with you guys. Whatever we can do, which is great, super great, awesome, wow. But it's not enough for y'all to bust a grape, basically. So thanks, and we'll let you know when we need you. So Rick and those are gonna head on off back to Alexandria because they can't be gone for too long, because if Negan and the boys come by and they're not there, it's gonna be a problem. So why Jesus tells them that he's got a long range walkie talkie that belongs to the saviors. He can hear them, everything that they say going on. He'll know when they're coming. Come go with him because he wants them to meet Black Jesus, aka Ezekiel, King Ezekiel. So we see them go to Ezekiel's camp where they're met by the head of Ezekiel's security team. I can't think of what his name is. He's always got full skater gear on. He's got like elbow pads, shin guards, full little protective vest. I mean, the guy's always dressed for battle. And he's a little weary, but because white Jesus is the one that's bringing them, he just takes their guns, gives them the lowdown, lets them in the camp. As soon as they get into the camp, they see that it's a thriving community. Like, they've got fresh fruit, fresh vegetables, they've got beautiful gardens, they've got like exercise groups, camps. People are working out, people are practicing weaponry and what do you call it? Um, fighting skills and all this stuff. Like, it's a viable camp, and it's enough people, if everybody fights, to be a pretty good size group going against Negan and the survivors. If they can get the hilltop and also who they have in Alexandria, this could be something useful, a group that could have impacts in this fight. So in the process of looking around and doing an assessment, Team Rick is always doing an assessment. They are always on reconnaissance. Okay, that's how Rick got them trained. That's what they do. That's why they're such an effective group. So in the midst of all this, they see Morgan. Now, they're happy to see Morgan. It's great. Of course, they want to know what's up with Carol. He tells them that he had found Carol. She was shot, and he had to kill the man that was trying to kill Carol. Now, he said it like, oh, and by the way, I got over my problem of not wanting to kill in this post-apocalyptic world where you have to kill just about everything. So everybody was like, okay, Morgan, good job. You finally grasping the fact that you're going to have to kill something if you plan on surviving and you want the people around you to survive as well. Good job. They go on in to see King Ezekiel, and of course, King Jesus says, "Oh yeah, by the by, I forgot to tell you guys that yeah, he's got a tiger, pet tiger. Of course, the tiger is a huge part of the look. The black Jesus, King on the Mount, commander of all things living look. And so, it's quite impressive. But Rick and those are like Carol. They're just like, okay, okay, all right. Um, so Rick goes in immediately with the hard sell. He lets them know, hey, listen, we've all got this being terrorized by this guy who is a sadist and a narcissistic butthole, and eventually whatever you're doing for him, whatever agreement you have with him, is not going to be enough. Eventually he is going to require more, and it's probably going to be in the way of blood and sweat and tears. He's going to want his pound of flesh eventually. As it stands right now, Negan and the Saviors don't come inside the camp. Okay, but how long is that going to last? So Black Jesus, aka King Ezekiel, hears them out. White Jesus weighs in. Ezekiel asked Morgan what he thought. What do you think? And Rick, and the Team Alexandria people. But more importantly, Rick. And when Rick put his mind to something and he formulated a plan, he's 9 times out of 10 successful. Why you would sit there and him and Mickey Fricky Hall, him and Hall, and the people are dying, and I'm not sure, and I don't know. Okay, well, what happened to you being able to kill now? You already know it's necessary. You already know that people gonna die. This is war. Okay, it's post-apocalyptic war against the undead. Okay, and those people that want to survive against the undead, even if it means that the living must die. Okay, so you already know the deal. You know you're gonna have to fight. You know you're gonna have to war against the beast, the machine. What's up with this mealy mouth, weak, yellow belly attitude? I'm not feeling it from Morgan. I wasn't feeling it from him last season. I'm not feeling this bull crap from him this go round. I say if Morgan don't want to fight, he don't want a man up, he don't want a soldier up, cut him loose. Like I'm over it. I didn't like that. I didn't like the way he did that. So King Ezekiel wants to invite, think about it and he'll let them know in the morning. Well, Rick tells him this story about a rock in the road in this town where rock in the road, horses are breaking their legs, carts are being turned over, people are hurting themselves. Finally, one day, this young girl is coming back from town or wherever with something that her family needs to live and survive, trips over the rock in the road, spills everything, loses everything, whatever this is. And she decides, why is this rock here? And she digs and claws and scratches, bloodies her hands, digs this rock up underneath the rock. She finally gets it loose. Underneath the rock, she finds bag of gold. Well, it turns out the king had left this bag of gold there because he said whoever takes on the challenge of digging this rock up will have earned this bag of gold that's underneath this rock. And so, of course, the girl obviously gets the gold, is able to save her family, and we all learn a valuable lesson about issue resolution and taking on impossible challenges. King Ezekiel takes the story in, and like a true fairy tale king, invites Alexandria to Din Din and a sleepover. They're like, look, no, there is a sadist out to kill us. We have to get back. We can't stay. And he is like, I have made my decision. I'm not going to decide. You guys have to stay, basically, because I'm not going to do anything until in the morning. So, you know, Um, so then we see Morgan's trainee, this kid that he's been training to use the fighting stick. Is walking in the woods. He spots something. The something spots him. Turns out it's Carol. She's got a rifle and she's out there walking in the woods. Of course, Carol wants to be this curmudgeon now. She doesn't want to see anyone else hurt or die, and so she has decided she doesn't want to know or care or think about any other human being outside of herself because people eventually just die and it's crushing. So she's, having this short, curt conversation with him where she's being kind of a jerk and a butthole. But of course, he tells her that King Ezekiel is always going to check on her, and he always checks on the people he cares about, and he's going to want to know how she's doing, and so on and so forth. And she's just got kind of a half smile because while you do not want to be bothered, you still cannot deny the fact that your loins probably get a little bit turned on by this big black buck and his tiger. You know what I'm saying? Checking on you. Girl, get on. Get you some. Yeah. I mean, come on, Carol. Come on now, girl. It's how. Come. Anyway, it kind of softens her heart a little bit. She goes on about her business. So later on, we see King Ezekiel is telling the little kid a bedtime story. Oh, how sweet. And he starts talking to Morgan's trainee, and Morgan's trainee tells him he ran into Carol in the woods, and um, King Ezekiel says, how's she doing? And that translates into, did she ask about me? Did she say, obviously he has this affection for Carol, which, okay, whatever. Um, so, they talk a little bit about what his decision is, what his decision could be, and if he wants to fight, and he has to mull it over and think about all of that. So, yeah, okay. Now, next morning, King Ezekiel's there, and the town is buzzing, the camp is buzzing. Rick walks up. Obviously, they spent the night. Rick walks up, him and Team Alexandria, and King Ezekiel tells them, look at all these people. They've lost limbs, they've lost families, they've lost mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, the whole nine. I'm supposed to protect them. I'm going to protect them, and that means not rocking the boat with Negan and the Saviors. You know, we've gotten this agreement with them where we give them this monthly or whatever stipend or peace offering, whatever they're calling it, shakedown, basically goods, and it's working out, it's fine. And so he's not going to fight. And of course, Ricky tries to give it one good go. That's not going to last always. And he's just like, look, I'm responsible for these people. I'm not going to go into this great war when I don't have to. I don't see a reason for it at this time. So of course, Daryl pops off because Daryl will fight, what I'm saying? He'll fight Goliath with both hands tied behind his back. So he'll understand King Ezekiel. And he's like, well, you don't sound like much of a king to me. And I have to say I agree with Daryl. And I'll tell you why. We already know the story about how King Ezekiel got the tiger and how he became king there, so to speak. We know that he is sort of figurative leader. He's their leader, but everything he is doing is to keep people safe, to keep them focused, to keep them motivated. He's not a true, in my opinion, he's not like this warrior king. He's not. He is he's like I said, fairy tale, come hither and away from me, and all of this jargon and facade of being king, but it's really just for show. Like, he doesn't have a lot of force. He doesn't use a lot of force. He is not a person that goes to war. I'm prepared to be wrong about that, but everything I've seen has shown him to be sort of this figurative king, scepter, and it's just it's just to keep the people there motivated. He's the emperor's new clothes. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he's like the old Oz, you know what I'm saying? Pull it on, and you pull the curtain down, and it's just this little bitty short man pulling all the levers. I mean, it was a weak move, terribly weak move. So I'm like, okay, well, y'all gonna have to really get the kibosh put down on y'all by Negan and his people before you go on a fight. Meanwhile, he tells them, hey, listen, not going to fight with you, but what I will do is offer Daryl asylum since they're looking for Daryl. They don't come inside the walls here. Daryl can stay here. Okay. They get ready to leave. They're walking out of Ezekiel's camp, and the black chick that slept with Abraham and the Latino chick who slept with Abraham, the black chick tried to vent to her and talk to her, and the Latino chick just shuts her down, just because, why are you talking to me? Why are you even having this conversation with me now? She didn't have kind of her butt on her shoulders ever since she had to give her gun up when the saviors came in and basically humiliated her, and of course seeing Abraham get killed. She has not resolved any of those issues, and so she's gonna be having her butt on her shoulders and feeling some type of way until she can exact some revenge. She ain't trying to feel it for nobody right now. And she was just like, just because we both slept with the same person don't mean we friends. I thought it was funny. Anyway, Rick makes Daryl stay because it's the best thing for Daryl to stay there. He'll be safe there, hopefully, and he can also work on King Ezekiel and try to get him to see that it's best that they fight. Also, we already know that Daryl gonna talk to Carol, And I like to see what that's going to be about because King Ezekiel is feeling Carol. Carol seemed like she feeling King Ezekiel, but remember in the last season or mid-season, last season 6, we see that Carol and Daryl had some affection for each other. So I want to see how all this gonna play out. Meanwhile, on Team Alexander is on their way back. They're heading down the road. They come upon 2 rows of cars in the road that they can't get around. They decide they've got to forge ahead. So what they're going to do is move the cars, go through, and when they come back, they're going to move the cars back into place. All right. I can't for the life of me remember where they were going. Michonne was looking off to the side and looking at some different things, and I wasn't really sure about that because I was trying to watch the Grammys too at the same time. So I kind of missed why they were headed that way and what was happening with that. But basically, after they moved the cars, they come upon this really, really great booby trap that was designed to kill herds of walkers that was laced with explosives. And apparently the Latino chick knows a little bit about explosives. So they decided to dismantle the whole contraption and take the explosives because they need them. And of course, we can use these explosives to fight against the saviors. Great idea. She takes they take all the explosives, leaving ones that are cracked or split or whatever and could explode. So they leave that. Meanwhile, the herd of walkers is coming, and this is where we get like a old seasons past Walking Dead, because this is the excitement of the walkers that we haven't seen in a while because we've been dealing with this whole Saviors Negan debacle. And so walkers are coming up the road. They load up the explosives. They've got to move the cars back. We bring it down to the wire. We got like 15 things to do in 15 seconds with the walkers breathing down our neck. This is typical The Walking Dead action scenario. So they go to move the cars back. The walkers are there. Carl and the others barely get back into the truck that have the explosives in it. Michonne and Rick dismantle the rest of the explosives. They get this idea that there's 2 cars on the side of the road that's holding these wires. They hot wire the car, and they take this wire that's on the 2 cars, fastened on the 2 cars, and they drive down and just mow down and decapitate and cut in half like whole slews, hundreds and hundreds of walkers. It's a super, super cool scene. It is like I said, typical Walking Dead. It was pretty awesome. Anytime you can kill a whole bunch of walkers at one time, like maximize, I think that's great. I think they need to take that idea moving forward, like find some way to weaponize that idea and create some type of weapon or contraption where they can do that, repeat that, because it was a great, 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 great scene. Rick and Michonne get in the truck with the others, and they forge on ahead. Good scene. They get back to Alexandria, and before they can be told about what Gabriel has done and the fact that he is not there, as soon as they walk in the gate, like right behind them is Negan's men coming to look for Daryl. Now, they were rushing back to the camp because they knew that from the walkie-talkie that Negan's people were coming to Alexandria to look for Daryl. So that's why they were rushing back. They get back. In walks, I call him 70s porn survivor because he's got this mustache and he's this like really smarmy, skinny, hairy, grease ball type. Dingleberry. He's one of Negan's minions, one of his head buttholes, and he's coming in to look for Daryl, and he wants everybody to go with him as they look so that they can witness him kill Daryl on the spot. I'll just be so glad when this whole saviors scenario is over and Negan is dead. Like, they're the most vile, vicious, despicable characters, and although I know that it's going to have to be top, they're going to have to be topped at some point. This season will go down in history as one of my least favorite because of Negan and the Saviors. Okay, ugh, they just turn my stomach. Anyway, no Daryl. They don't find Daryl, but they do discover that all of the shelves are bare, and 70s porn savior, um, makes reference to it, and they say, hey, we haven't had time to restock because we've been out looking, but it's hard and you guys have taken everything, and if you wait here we'll get some more stuff. Rick thinks on his feet really fast, and the guy's like, nah, 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 this is not a pickup, this is about killing Daryl, so don't worry about it. Well, like I said, they don't find Daryl. They leave. Of course, he leaves with the final threat. As soon as they're out of the gate and gone, this is when Rick finds out that Gabriel's gone. Um, Part of the group thinks that he's turned into a yellow belly coward again, and he's taken all the stuff and absconded. And then another part of the group feels like, no, this isn't like him. He's shown strength, and something else is happening. So they go to his room or whatever and look for stuff. They find his Bible's there. They look through some papers and they discover that he has written boat in a notebook. So they think that's what he's done. He's gone back to the boat where Rick and his gay sidekick, which I can't remember his name, got those supplies originally. They think for some reasons, some way decided he's going to go back to this boat, which to me doesn't make a lick goddamn sense, because Rick is probably one of the few people that know where this boat is. Like, I don't even understand why Gabriel would know about the location. Like, it's a weird setup. Anyway, we see this really touching scene where Rick's gay sidekick is talking to his partner, and his partner doesn't want him to go. His partner really doesn't want him to fight against Negan and the saviors at all, and he's really worried about him. And gay sidekick says, no, we must rail against the machine, we must fight. And so I agree with that 100%. So shout out to him and kudos. They go out, they work as a team. Rick's giving orders, they're looking, they found some foot tracks, they follow the foot tracks to see, this may be Gabriel, we think it's Gabriel. And suddenly they find themselves surrounded by like this 250, 200 people, and they're like, rebels, like young hoodied rebels. They look like a really, really strong team. They've all got weapons and rifles. They all look like a young group of people. Like, they don't look like they're like a group of 20 something year olds essentially, but obviously they've got a strong pack. And Rick goes into this instantly where he should be frightened. He starts smiling because I think in the back of his mind he's thinking, this is the freaking army we need to fight against Negan. Like, this is an army. So I can't wait to see how that all turns out. That's the end of the episode. I want to see what the conflict is going to be like between Carol, Daryl, and Black Jesus, aka King Ezekiel. And of course, I can't wait to see what's going on with Gabriel. Hopefully, he's not a coward and he's not doing something stupid. I mean, we got Carl for stupid behavior, so we don't need Gabriel chiming in with anything extra. Okay, you guys, that's all I have for you. Um, in terms of The Walking Dead. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much. If you are new to my channel, please remember to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button down below. Of course, remember to rate and comment. I'd love to hear your feedback. What did you think about this mid-season premiere? What do you think about the fight? What did you think about King Ezekiel? Let me know. Put it all down below. Until next time, honeybees.